away from the lighter note, it seems like on the front page, everywhere that you can see, it's all about the Prime Minister's Independence Day speech. It says Parivar Jan versus Parivar Vad. Fight corruption and dynastic politics is what the Prime Minister says.
Bhrashtachar, Parivarvad, Tushikaran. I mean, those three aspects that you want to...
Varghese has also ratified those three words. Bhrashtachar, Parivarvad and Tushtikaran. World is watching. India is unstoppable. We'll be back at the Red Fort next year, says the Prime Minister. So, there was a little bit of a report card on, the 10 years of the Modi government. I appreciated the fact that he opened up with Manipur, addressed that right at the start, right at the beginning. And then again, the shift from Dosto Mitro to Parivarjan, that was also very interesting to see. However, I mean, I'd love to hear what your opinion is, has been on the entire speech. He says, Vishwa Mitra, India is guarantee of stability and trust. We're a global friend now, we're Vishwa Mitra.
That particular word that he used, Vishwa Mitra, has been part of India's strategy as well. That is, we tend to be friends of everyone, actually enemies of none. That is what our foreign policy tries to say. But we are also asserting ourselves in world affairs, and the Prime Minister says that we have played a very pivotal role in a post-COVID world, not only economically, but also being the felicitator for other nations as well. We have, one of the biggest respects comes from the African nations, where they said that when the developed nations were holding on vaccines, India ensured that its people got vaccines. At the same time, it was able to help the African nations as well. So we have been using our strengths to actually push forward our soft power as well. And today, a lot of goodwill is there for the country, especially during the post-COVID world order. Why I would say that? Because when most of the P5 countries were actually trying to, get all their resources to themselves, we tried to cooperate, we tried to strengthen the fight against COVID in other countries. We did send our medical representatives to most of these countries as well, which required critical help.
Absolutely.
So
to Turkey,
all that,
need to our students when they had to be evacuated from war-torn Ukraine,
all that,
from Sudan. Remember
yes.
the latest operation that was carried out?
What Kabira was trying to say is that our foreign policy is assertive, but not what I would call as it's not a foreign policy that tends to move towards trying to bully someone or trying to keep someone into a debt trap. We are trying to have cooperative growth is what our foreign policy has been focusing on. And I think that aspect of it has made what the Prime Minister calls our country today as Vishwa Mitra, in the sense, friend of the world.
He also speaks about the Triveni, and whilst we're playing these visuals out, from the Guard of Honor that he received, and the visuals that came in from the ramparts of the Red Fort, the beauty with which the cameras were placed. I mean, I've got to give it to the broadcaster over there, because the camera shots, the placement, the spick and span lines of the military regiments, it was all just so. It just serenades you with unity and pride, for sure. He talks about the Triveni. Now, the Triveni is of demography, democracy and diversity. He says, and this Triveni is absolutely key. I'm just going to quickly take a look at what some other newspapers are also, talking about here. He says, in his 10th Independence Day speech, Prime Minister Modi says he'll be back next year. So that's something that is like
everybody
a
has
theme.
picked up.
Everybody is talking about his
Yes.
confidence. I'll just read out a little quote that he says. He says, the current scenario in India has brought a guarantee of stability in the world. There are no ifs or buts in the minds of my 140 crore family members or in the mind of the world. The ball is in our court. We can't miss this opportunity, is what the Prime Minister says. The era of serial bomb blasts and innocent deaths are now part of the past and history. The country has witnessed a significant reduction in terrorist attacks. Demography, democracy and diversity is key. Announces interest subsidy on bank loans to those living in slums, in chawls. And of course, every year, the Prime Minister does put out those kind of crucial schemes as well. doesn't he? He makes sure.
He speaks.
And this
He
is right
speaks
ahead of
about
the
those
2024
schemes.
polls.
You know, there is a talk within the BJP saying that, you know, what gets highlighted more is about how the Prime Minister's corporate reach is there. But they also have been tasked now within the BJP. There is an effort to say that there are a lot number of schemes that have been pushed in, and also to ensure that it reaches the right beneficiaries, they have taken up schemes for the poor. And now it is being said that many of the BJP workers on the ground have been tasked to go house to house to tell that where such schemes would benefit the middle class, the lower middle class, the poor. So they've been asked to in fact go ahead and educate as well on the ground level, because of course, you know, that there's the higher issues that get highlighted in the media. So they say that that is where we have to go ahead with the reach, and probably in the speech also some of those issues that he's in fact raised, or some of those schemes that he's been talking about, also comes from that idea that some of those things have to go to the grassroots, that communication should go to the grassroots.